Recording in five, four, three, two. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to another episode of STSL Off the Track. January is behind us, and February is in full swing. A lot of great monster truck action that happened this past weekend, and a lot to look forward to in the new month. Now, I know what you guys are thinking. First off, Lane Flores sounds a bit different tonight, don't you think? Well, unfortunately, Lane Flores is not with us tonight. He's got some personal matters that he's taking care of, so wish him the very best with that. Hope to have him back on the show soon. But you do have yours truly, Nophagen, holding down the fort. But I am not doing it alone, as I have the biggest Montana Robbins fans you know. It is Door Z.
Yes, sir. It's me once again. Literally, I just uploaded the last podcast on YouTube like 4 hours ago, and now we're here doing another one.
That is right. Make sure y'all tune into that as well. But yeah, a pleasure to have Dorsey back on the show. No Lane, but the show must go on. So we're going to rock and roll from the start, which is diving into the sports world. So, not a whole lot going on in the sports world as of late. That is with sports ball. Spring training with baseball that'll be starting up here soon. NBA basketball, the All-Star game coming up here soon as well. A big thing to note is that the Winter Olympics actually begins this Friday, I believe. That is when they're going to have the opening ceremony in Milano Cortina in Italy. So 17 days of the best winter sports action you can find. I've always just loved the Olympics, man. I don't know about you, Dorsey, but I just love the Olympics. You know, a whole bunch of countries coming together, celebrating community and fellowship through sport. And I just want to ask you, Dorsey, what sport are you most looking forward to for this year's Winter Olympics?
Um, there's a lot of different, of course, Olympics for the winter sports. As you can tell, I rarely watch it, but sometimes I do watch it. I think the most I'm gonna go into is probably skiing.
Yeah, that's a good one. There's a speed skiing. Oh yeah, there's skiing. There's speed skating, ski jumping. I think what I most look forward to is hockey. You know, maybe just because I've seen it a lot here in the Americas, in the United States, but a whole bunch of incredible sports that you may not even heard of, and they're going to be playing it in the Winter Olympics this year. And the build-up continues for the Super Bowl that is less than a week away in Santa Clara, California. Levi Stadium will host Super Bowl 60 and a long awaited Super Bowl rematch between the New England Patriots and the Seattle Seahawks. And I know I've said it already before. Who would have thought that Drake May and Sam Darnold would be the two quarterbacks battling it out for the Lombardi Trophy? I know we've already gone over it before, Dorsey, but what are you most looking forward to in the Super Bowl, other than, of course, cheering on for the New England Patriots?
Man, I'm getting ready for these commercials because apparently a lot of I know the favorite thing I'm looking forward to is not the game. No, but the commercials are always great. Apparently there's going to be some movie trailers being released. Apparently what rumored is the new Avengers movie is apparently going to be shown for the first time during the Super Bowl. And yeah, no, it's going to be a crazy game. Of course, I'm not too optimistic about this game. I think the Seahawks are definitely the better team. But I'm just proud that my team actually made it to the Super Bowl after going back to back 4-13 seasons.
Yeah, that's exactly right. First off, pointing on the commercials, a lot of good commercials to look forward to. You mentioned Avengers Doomsday. Apparently, Super Mario Galaxy movie might be getting a commercial there as well. But yeah, it's going to be a very exciting matchup. And, you know, the last few years we've had the Kansas City Chiefs like constantly making it to the Super Bowl. But I'm glad that this year, like this playoffs just in general, has been very exciting to see. And it's not one of the top tier quarterback. I don't want to say top tier, but not really top tier teams like your Joe Burrows, your Lamar Jacksons, like even your Matthew Staffords. They didn't get it to the big game, and Drake May, Sam Darnold, Patriots, Seahawks, they deserve their spot in the Super Bowl. So just wish the very best to those teams. Uh, Before the Super Bowl, of course, is going to be the Pro Bowl games this Tuesday. Not really going to go into much depth about that. We went over that last week. It's just lost its importance, just something else to fill in the wait for the big game that's going to be happening next Sunday at 6:30 Eastern Time. But something that Dora Z would like to dive into, it was the WWE Royal Rumble in Saudi Arabia. So, Dora, what were some of the most exciting moments from the Royal Rumble?
Man, oh man, Saudi Arabia gets a Royal Rumble. I know a lot of people were kind of controversial about that because the women are dressed up as Power Rangers. But anyways, yeah, no. So they started off with the women's Royal Rumble. We had some cool NXT surprises. One main surprise was Sol Ruka making it from number 10 all the way to the very end. Unfortunately, got eliminated, but she was in the final three. A well-deserved winner was Liv Morgan in that Rumble, so congrats to her. Second match of the day was Gunther versus AJ Styles. If AJ Styles loses, he retires from the WWE. And unfortunately, it does happen. AJ Styles is apparently done with the WWE now. His contract did end is going to end sometime in February. So I know a lot of people are not happy about this. I'm kind of not happy, but I think it was kind of, I don't know, obvious that it was going to happen. And then moving on, we had Drew McIntyre versus Sami Zayn for the Undisputed Championship. I thought this was a solid match. Drew McIntyre retains, breaking Sami Zayn's undefeated streak in Saudi Arabia. Now he's 4-1. And then moving on to the men's Royal Rumble. Man, I don't know. I just did not care for this match at all. I thought the women's was so much better than the men's. The winner definitely did not need it. The winner was Roman Reigns, and I don't know. I know you're not big into WWE, but of course you know who Roman Reigns is probably. So, man, I
Yeah.
don't know. I don't know how I feel about it.
Yeah, but still, you mentioned some great action going on in this year's Royal Rumble. How would you rate this year's competition compared to other years past? On like a scale of 1 to 10, how would you rate it?
I actually did this on my Instagram account. I rated a 4.5 out of 10 because there was a couple good matches, good moments, and the very bad moments definitely hurt the matches.
Yeah, a lot going on in this year's Royal Rumble. Just start of many big things to come this year in WWE. Of course, in a few months, we have WrestleMania. So, a long ways until then, but can't wait to see what goes on in the world of wrestling. But now we're going to switch over to what you guys have been waiting for, the truck jams for this weekend. A lot of busyness going on in the monster truck industry. So we're going to start off with the independent side. Starting off with Hot Wheels Monster Trucks Live Glow and Fire. Not much of a change depending on the lineups, but only two this weekend. No domestic shows, at least not on this form here on Google Sheets. It's Charleston, West Virginia, and the two locations for Hot Wheels this past weekend. And I don't know if we've already gone over this before or not, but something worth mentioning for Hot Wheels this year are the new metal ramps that they are using. For those of you who aren't familiar with Hot Wheels Monster Trucks Glow and Fire, they're your more traditional Thunder Nationals type show. Crush cars and vans on concrete. You would see some international stadium or arena shows use dirt, but mostly in the US, it's mostly been crush cars and vans on concrete. But this year, they've started to implement these new ramps for their shows, and they have three in particular: a wheelie ramp, long jump ramp, and a stoppie ramp. So this new format, Dorsey, if you haven't seen any Hot Wheels shows this year, For the wheelie competition, all the trucks have been going over the same stack of cars with that specially built ramp that has more of a curve built into it so that they can get that pop that they're looking for wheelies. And then after wheelie competition is over with, a truck comes out and attempts a stoppie, which is interesting. Usually, you'd be off to one of the sets of cars or in the middle of the track, and usually it's been the driver of Scalosaurus completing the stoppie, whether it's Devin Wheeler or Mike Phelps. And then you go into the donut competition. That's self-explanatory. But then the second half of competition, everybody for long jump goes over the other stack of cars with the specially built long jump ramp. Not much to explain about the ramp. It's just a straight shot. Hit it, see how far I can go, and then freestyle they remove all the ramps so they can have all the crushing for the cars and the vans. So just a few small elements, but these small elements can make some big impacts in their shows. So, Dorzy, what do you think about these new ramps being built into the Hot Wheels shows, and how do you think it might improve the product for Hot Wheels shows?
Oh no, I think it's definitely going to improve. I think they're stepping into the right direction. I think it's about time they start adding a bit of ramps to it because, like you said, all old school style for them. It's all crush cars, but adding some new stuff now with stoppies, even though stoppies have been a thing for quite a while now with monster trucks. Seeing apparently you said what Skelesaurus has been like the only one that's done the stoppies, so that's a bit weird.
Yeah, that is interesting that only one driver is doing stoppies, but it's just for exhibition, so I guess I can
Yeah.
understand that. But as you mentioned, they are more old school and traditional. They use dirt unless they absolutely have to. So, and the crushed cars and vans has just been an easier setup and tear down for them, opposed to getting all the dirt in and forming the ramps and scooping them back out. But these ramps that they have, I'm not gonna lie, it's quite an innovative way to implement some of the more newer tricks without the use of dirt. So, Hot Wheels, as you mentioned, definitely stepping in the right direction. They will be coming to Knoxville in 3 weeks, I believe, February 21st and 22nd. So, they've started to use these ramps full time. So, I can't wait to see for myself what the action looks like with these new ramps in mind. But that is it for Hot Wheels this weekend. Now, let's go into the rest and find a few pointers from these shows. First, it was the Monster Truck Insanity Next Level Tour at Las Cruces, New Mexico. If I butcher that, my apologies. Only a three-truck show for the Southern New Mexico State Fair, with Hillbilly, driven by Tim Manchester, Misfit, Gabe Montoya, and the Next Level Tour truck, driven by David Tucker. Then it was the Monster X Tour with the Mayo Civic Center in Rochester, Minnesota. Moyer Triple B Monster Trucks, Barefoot Paul Craighead, Carolina Crusher Rob Poutre, Troll Carson Schmidt, Redneck Rampage with the GOAT Rod Schmidt, and a Werewolf driven by Stanley Hernandez. We also had the Extreme Monster Truck Nationals in Alexandria, Louisiana at the Laborde Earls Coliseum with American Pride, Shane Freed, Crime Time, Brittany Ames, Let's Go, Culture Shock, Pat Paquettes, that's interesting, not driving Psychopath, he's in Culture Shock this past weekend. Hurricane Force, Steve Thompson, The Judge, Faith Freed, and Virginia Giant Cliff Vowell. You also had TNT. I believe that's a new tour that's starting up. I'm not so sure, but you had Econ, the name of all time, driven by Thomas Kimmons, Higher Education, Chris DeHoyos, Overkill Evolution with Mikey Vaughters, Mississippi Nightmare, driven by Michelle Watley, and Sudden Impact with Chris Watley. The Kicker Monster Truck Show in Amarillo, Texas, one of their annual stops at the Amarillo National Center. You had American Scout Colton Kaiser, the goatest Bigfoot driver to ever face this earth, Josh Baumgartner, Double Trouble Tyler Groth, Monster Moose with Travis Groth, the veteran with Eric Swanson, and what is this? Outlaw Wrangler? This logo is so dark, but it's the Outlaw Wrangler with Ryan Dietrich. Now we move on to 2X Live Tour, Jimmy Cretan's camp. At Mohave Valley, Arizona, you had Brutal with Onson Minton behind the wheel. Jekyll and Hyde, Corey Kinel. Roaring Rex, Mike Nugent by with Dan the Man Dahlgren. They were
No.
also Yeah, let's go. Yeah, they were also at Lake City, Florida, at the North Florida Speedway with Black Stallion, Mike Vaughters, Bounty Hunter, The Goat, Jimmy Cretin, Iron Warrior, Eason Natal, and Scarlet Bandit with Don Cretin. Kicking off their series for 2026, Monsters of Destruction at the Alliant Energy Center, an annual event for them in Madison, Wisconsin. You had Against the Grain Brad Shippert, Kurt Kramer driving Ram Demption, Raminator with Mark Hall, Stomper with Dalton Van Skyok, and Tailgater with Tim Jones, debuting some sort of a new tailgater. It's the green alligator, but with a holographic logo. So, a nice, interesting touch for Tim Jones and his alligator. The All Star Monster Trucks were in Pensacola, Florida this weekend. The same lineup. I believe right now Nick Pagliarillo and Kraken still has the points lead, but Elliot Miller in high tie, he's been close right behind his tail. So that should be an interesting series as we go farther in the first quarter. Toughest Monster Trucks was in Youngstown, Ohio at the Covelli Center with Blockhead Tim Azensis, Dirt Crew Jerry Beck, Dirt Crew Dozer David Olfert, Jurassic Attack Preston Collins, Maximus Jared Smith, and Velociraptor with Preston Perez. And for this show, in a bit, I'll bring Dorzy in on this. This is Monsters of Metal with Salisbury, Maryland at the Wacomico Civic Center. And what a lineup and just what a track, a show in general this show was. So, first, your lineup with Airmail, Jordan Fisher. Bad Company, driven by Brandon Vinson. We'll get to that here in just a moment. Crushtation with Greg Winchenbach, Illuminator Dan Donnelly, Lumberjack Zach Winchenbach, Shaker Ryan Disharoon, and Toxic Corey Snyder. So, a bit to unpack from this independent show in this small arena, but a lot of big things happening. First off, Door Z, Brandon Vinson, first time driving competitively in 2 years, and he's driving Bad Company. What are your thoughts on Brandon Vinson's return to the sport?
This was definitely completely out of nowhere. Because originally everyone thought John Gordon was going to be in it, and then Deidre Garner was going to have the Megalodon seat for this past weekend. But no, John Gordon stayed with the overboard camp, and Brandon Vinson drove Bad Company here in Maryland, and great to see him. I'm going to bring the picture up because he's right there with the truck. It's great to see him back in the monster truck industry once again. I didn't see how well he did. I didn't really watch any clips of this show, but I guess one thing to mention is they had a whole container in there with a backflip ramp in that
Yeah.
tiny arena. So that's insane.
Oh my gosh. Yeah. We'll get to the more to the track here in just a bit. But yeah, Brandon Vincent, he's driven a lot of identities in his career, most notably Gravedigger winning a World Finals Racing Championship in 2022. And he's been out of the scene for 2 years, but glad to see him back in the saddle with the Bad Company truck. Now, go to another truck that debuted a new body, Shaker, Flying Ryan, pulling off another cool paint scheme, a white Shaker. Dorzy, what are your thoughts on this new Shaker design?
I thought it was pretty good. It's definitely a brand new color that they never done before, and I know a lot of people. I know a few people didn't really care for it. I thought it was okay.
Yeah, it was a really cool monster truck. Just another cool update from the Shaker team. And now we'll just get back into the track a little bit. You mentioned the backflip ramp that they had, which a backflip container you don't usually see that in a small arena, and also not to mention the big giant dirt mound that they had in more. I think it was close to the center of the track, but yeah, they were using that big ramp for the racing track when he had two drivers turning into it, driving side by side, going over that big jump. Just a weird track in general. Dorsey, what are your thoughts on this track that I don't think we have ever seen before?
Yeah, it kind of just reminds me of like a stadium track, side by side racing, almost like at the end, of course, side by side, because they're turning right into each other, or not into each other, but turning right next to each other, side by side across the finish line. It's kind of like a small Las Vegas style racing, but they're even closer because, of course, it's in a tiny arena.
Yeah, this a track like this, you would only expect to see made on a game like Monster Truck Destruction, but not actually made in real life. But hey, Monsters of Metal doing something different. Props to them. Can't wait to see what other cool tracks they can pull off at a few of these other venues I'll be going at near in the future. But now we got the independence from this past weekend out of the way. Now it is time for what y'all been waiting for, and it is the Monster Jams. And oh boy, what a weekend it has been. All five tours in action. I know some of the tours have been a bit rusty because of the big snowstorm that happened this past weekend, but all five are off and running heading into February. So now let's go through some of these results, some of the cool action that we got to see this past weekend. Starting off with Arena Championship Series West at one of their big venues that they go to, the Fargo Dome in Fargo, North Dakota, home of the multi-time national champion North Dakota State Bison. And two events as they usually do in Fargo, one Saturday, one Sunday. Starting off with JCB Racing, Blake Granger, absolutely on a tear this year. He gets another victory in Mossima Dalmatian over Gravediggers Matt Cody. A two-wheel skills challenge saw Armando Castro and El Toro Loco getting the win. In freestyle, it was Blake Granger, Mossima Dalmatian, pulling off the win with the Morgan and Morgan backflip. And with the tiebreaker with El Toro Loco, the higher freestyle score is Mossima Dalmatian. So therefore, Blake Granger gets the overall event championship, the first one this weekend. And he looks to carry that momentum over into Sunday. And he starts off strong with another JCB Racing win over Earthshaker's Alex Barden. And in the skills competition, how about this? Tim Hall Jr. and Jurassic Attack gets to win. Love to see it. He does finish pretty well in freestyle, third place overall. Blake Granger finishes second place. And your freestyle winner is Armando Castro and El Toro Loco, but only 3 points short of the overall event championship. It goes once again to Blake Granger and Monster Mutt Dalmatian. So, how about that, Dorsey? Blake Granger sweeping the overalls here in Fargo.
And something to note, they mentioned it, I believe, on his story that this is his seventh overall championship in a row. So he's over here cleaning house on Arena West.
Jeez. He has been on a tear. He's absolutely been on a mission, and ever since I think 2024, that's really when it started. When he won that, I guess you can call it an international series championship. But 2025, ever since then, he's been on a tear, and he is on another one this year, hoping to grab another Arena Series championship with Arena Series West. But now I'm going to toss it over to you, Dorsey, because this weekend you got to see some action from Providence, Rhode Island at the Amica Mutual Pavilion. It's really the Dunkin' Donuts Center, don't you think?
Oh yeah, no, I still call it that sometimes. I will. The other thing just doesn't
Tell us
roll off the
about the
tongue.
action. Well, wait, or Z, what were the results from this
All
weekend
right.
in Providence?
So I went to the Friday and the Sunday show. Saturday I wasn't at any of them because I watched the Royal Rumble with family. But to start off with, the first show I went to Friday evening, John Zimmer Jr. Terminal Velocity takes out Cody Saucier's undefeated racing streak for this season in the final round of racing. MJ Solorio and El Toro Loco takes the two-wheel skills competition, and Kristen Anderson gets the mini flip. She wins the freestyle competition. But it wasn't enough. John Zimmer Jr., Terminal Velocity, gets the first overall event championship. and Friday. And man, Friday was a fantastic show. I think it was better than the Sunday show that I witnessed. All the drivers went all out, even on the first show of the whole weekend. It was quite a sight to see. But Saturday afternoon, Cody Saucier gets his revenge, gets the race and win over Terminal Velocity. El Toro Loco MJ Solorio gets the two-wheel skills win, freestyle, and the overall event champion, tying with playing crazy. But since MJ got, oh wow, even Montana finished second in freestyle, so that's how close it was. MJ Solorio El
Yeah.
Toro Loco gets the overall event championship in Saturday afternoon. Moving on to the third show of the weekend, Terminal Velocity gets his second race and win of the season. Of the weekend, taking out Crazy Train. MJ Solorio once again gets the two-wheel skills win and the freestyle win, but it wasn't enough. John Zimmer Jr. Terminal Velocity gets the overall event championship with 22 points. So two for Zimmer, two for MJ. And then moving on to the last show, the Sunday show where I got to see. The final round of racing was all Sended Motorsports. Terminal Velocity takes out his dad, John Zimmer in Megalodon, to get 3 out of 4 racing wins. And then how about this? MJ Solorio swept the two-wheel skills, got all 4 of them. But then Cody Saucier ends the night with a mini flip and gets the freestyle win. But it wasn't enough. Look how close the overall was for this last show. 18, 15, 14, 14, 13, 13, and 12. Insane. That's how close everyone was together. MJ Solorio gets the overall. So 2 went to Zimmer, 2 went to MJ. And I think a lot of people were kind of disappointed with the last 2 shows. If you see, there has been no Gravedigger sighting at all in the last 2 shows. Unfortunately, Kristen came down with some type of sickness, and unfortunately, they didn't get a replacement for her. And Gravedigger was just gone from the last 2 shows. So unfortunately, Kristen definitely dropped in points after not competing in the last 2 shows. And hopefully, she can come back this weekend and make some ground.
Yeah, that was definitely unfortunate to see that Kristen Anderson missed out on the last 2 shows. Nothing you don't usually see out of her, and something definitely you don't see a lot of Monster Jam nowadays. An event, or in this case, 2 events with no Gravedigger. So, like you said, that definitely hurt her in points. But of course, right now the points don't matter that much in this case. Hoping Kristen Anderson can get back on the track soon for the next event so she can keep on doing her thing. But also, you mentioned it for the last show, a 6 point difference from the top to bottom drivers in the standings, which you don't see a lot of that in Monster Jam nowadays either. So how cool is that? That close points battle all day for that last show.
Yeah, Logan Ashline had a cool little barrel roll at the end of her freestyle, and she landed it on all 4 BKTs at the end, so she did a complete forward somersault and got second in freestyle, so that helped her with points for her as well.
You said back on all 4 BKTTs, and that just brought up Ryan Lacoste. How
Oh
awesome was it to
no.
see Lacoste on the mic?
Yeah, Ryan Lacrosse was yeah, he's not, the full-time Arena East guy, I don't think, right? It was just
Nah, he's just here for fill-ins whenever they need
yeah.
him.
So it was cool to see Ryan Lacrosse. I got a selfie with him on Friday's show, and man, because I was sitting right on Friday's show, I was sitting right there in front of the booth, right there.
Oh,
So there, you can at the beginning of Providence when Ryan and the other announcer, I can not think of her name at the moment, but apparently this was her first weekend. So
oh,
congrats to
really?
her. Um, hope she had fun, and maybe we'll see her again. I would assume this is probably full time, but I was sitting right there, so you could see me at the beginning of their live stream on Providence One, just standing there.
Oh man, you gotta love back on all 4 BKT tires. Ryan Lacoste still rocking it in Monster Jam. But now we're going to rock on over to Milwaukee, Wisconsin at the Pfizer Forum as this week they hosted the next round of Monster Jam Freestyle Mania. 3 events this weekend, 5 competitions each. Let's go over it. Starting off with Saturday afternoon.
Oh
How about
man,
this to start off the weekend? Chucky Pumpkin and Classroom Crusher gets the racing win over Weston Anderson. An incredible moment for him. Moving on to two-wheel skills, Tony Oaks and JCB Digatron gets the win. Moving into FMX, best upright trick winner goes to Gravediggers Noah Bakken. Freestyle motocross, best trick. He's at it again, folks. Scott Murray is continues to dominate here in Milwaukee. Oh, we'll get to more of that here in a sec. Freestyle goes to Fernando Martinez and El Toro Loco. But at the end of the day, by 1 point, Gravedigger gets to win with 30 points. Your first overall event champion of the weekend.
man, Classroom Crusher was so close.
Yeah,
Almost got their
oh my
first
gosh.
one.
Oh man, if Chucky Pocken and Drew Slough got that overall event championship, that would have been absolute cinema.
Yep.
But it was a hard fought battle for the first event. Moving on to Saturday evening, Gravedigger gets some payback, gets the racing win over El Toro Loco, and also gets the two-wheel skills challenge victory. So a nice start for Team Gravedigger. Best upright trick, TJ Tiffany gets the win, and for JCB Digatron. Best trick, Megalodon gets it again. Freestyle, your winner is Ringling Bailey Circuit with Brianna Mahan behind the wheel. But by 2 points, El Toro Loco gets the win. Fernando Martinez and AJ Roseboro get their first overall of the weekend. And now we move on to Sunday afternoon. El Toro Loco keeps the momentum going. Or wait, okay. On Monster Jam, if you look at the results page for Milwaukee, the Sunday show, they have the racing finals. El Toro Logo defeats Megalodon.
Yep.
What are we doing? Nice. El Toro, the
Also
logo.
read the semifinals. I got so confused with that, man. JCB Diggertron defeats El Toro Loco. JCB Diggertron complete not compete.
Okay.
You
Moving
know,
on.
unfortunately, what happened was Tony's starter apparently didn't work, and unfortunately, he did take out Fernando in the semis, and he couldn't compete in the final, so Fernando came back.
Oh yeah, those JCB Digatron and Mechanical Gremlins. We'll get to that here in just a moment. But yeah, El Toro Loco starts the day with the JCB Racing win. Your two-wheel skills challenge winner. How about this? Brandon Telechka gets the win in Zombie. Love to see it. Best upright trick winner is Sparkle Smash. Cam Sepulveda gets the win in that competition. And best trick, bro, Scott Murray
He's 12
once
for
again
12.
sweeps the best trick. Seriously, and he's 49 years old, and he is dominating on the best trick side of things.
I know
And
this isn't a monster truck, but this has to be like the first time ever that someone has won 12 of the same competitions in a row. There's no way.
Scott Murray is on a generational run right now as we speak. Still undefeated in best trick. Can he keep it on going in February? We'll have to find out soon. But wrapping it up in Milwaukee with freestyle, JCB Digatron gets to win. Tony Oaks gets the victory, but loses out on the overall event championship by 4 points. El Toro Loco wraps up the weekend with their second overall event championship in Milwaukee. So El Toro Loco comes away with two. Gravedigger comes up with one. And before we move on to the stadiums, I do want to talk about JCB Digatron, Tony Oaks. He missed out on the first two freestyle competitions, and he mentioned on social media his disappointment. So, what do you think about this, Dorsey? Tony Oaks having to go through some mechanical troubles and missing out on some competitions.
He started out so good in the first two weekends, and his truck is just not holding up. Like, once again, he made it to the final round of racing on the Sunday show, and he couldn't compete. So I don't know what's going on with this JCB, but they need to figure out something because Weston and Fernando are pulling ahead of him right now.
Yeah, just some things you got to overcome when you're in the monster truck industry. You got to mechanical issues figured out so he can succeed more in the long run. But yeah, still a very competitive point series. We'll get to the standings here very shortly, but now we're going to switch over to the stadium environment. And I'll let Dorsey take this one. Lucas Oil Stadium, two shows in Indianapolis, Indiana, the house that Peyton Manning built. Dorsey, what happened this weekend on Stadium Championship Series East?
Well, let's start off with Saturday evening, and I don't know uh if this is correct. Of course it is. I saw it. Man, oh man, Kevin Crocker gets the
Yeah.
racing win. Let me say that one more time for the people that didn't hear. Kevin Crocker gets the racing win, takes out Tristan England, JCB Digatron. What a win for Kevin Crocker. Moving on
Monk's
to
got it.
the moving on to the two wheel skills challenge. Camden Murphy in Classroom Crusher gets it done. He also gets it done in freestyle. Look at Camden go. But the overall event championship, his first show back, Tristan England gets it done after being. I'm not even gonna say it. Tristan England gets it done. 1 point over Camden Murphy with the overall event champion. Didn't get any wins, but was consistent enough to get it done. Moving on to Sunday afternoon. Colt Stevens, this is a crazy final round of racing too. Colt Stevens gets the race and win in Thunder Roars over Chris Kohler and Mayhem. Chris Kohler has just been insane this year. We'll talk about that at the points soon. But two wheel skills challenge, Tristan England gets it done in the JCB Digatron. Wow, look at the score. In second place was a 7.3. Wow, that must have been a terrible two wheel skills challenge then. That's insane. But anyways, freestyle. Oh man, Adam Anderson. So I got home from watching Monster Jam in Providence, and I came right home to watch Monster Jam on my TV for Indianapolis. And Adam Anderson gets the freestyle win, his first competition win of the season. You could have went either way with Tristan's or Adam's. They were both that good. Adam just went loose. He had the biggest air throughout that entire show and just destroyed everything. Man, Adam, that was peak Adam freestyling right there. But the overall event champion, going back to back, sweeping the weekend. Tristan England and JCB Digatron gets both overalls. But I think something else happened on the Sunday afternoon show that is very important that we need to talk about.
What would that be, Dorsey?
So I don't remember I don't know when they did it because I saw it a little bit after. I'm assuming it was during halftime, right? Or was it like before
What
the
would that?
show? I don't remember
What would that be?
when they announced it, but Monster
Oh yeah,
Jam
that's right.
Monster
I
Jam
got it.
brought back the Hall of Fame after I don't know how many years was the last inductee. It's gonna be what,
Too
like
long.
2 or 3 years now?
Actually, the last inductees were announced in 2021.
Oh my God. Okay. Even longer than I thought. Your fifth inductee into the Hall of Fame is the professor himself, the
Ah!
Monster Patrol driver, the Bulldozer driver, the Goldberg. Okay, anyways, Max D's, Tom Meents gets in the Monster Jam Hall of Fame. Insane.
Oh my gosh, that was quite an emotional moment for Mintz, his family, and also for Leslie Mears while she was interviewing Tom Mintz. She got a little emotional going over it as well, going over some historical moments from Tom Mintz. And no other better place to announce it than Indianapolis, where he has had some incredible moments and memories in that building. So, yeah, it's been a long time since there have been any Hall of Fame inductees. Another one to be announced later this year before the World Finals. Or maybe it might be at the World Finals. We're not so sure, but still more to come about that. But man, what an incredible honor for Tom Mintz. Very deserving, the greatest to ever do it. But before we move on, I did want to talk about this freestyle competition because this was just a weird. freestyle competition. You had three trucks that did not even complete their minimum time. Sparkle Smash, Excalibur, and El Toro Loco, Joe Foley, they all flipped and crashed in their first 30 seconds. But as you mentioned, Adam Anderson saved the show. The absolute madman this is. He kicked it up to 10 on the insanity level. Did you see the air that he got? He was flying around that track like it was Atlanta Motor Speedway. That was insane. And not to mention the save he got. Would you say that's a. I know he left some time on the clock, but would you say that's an early contender for Stadium Freestyle of the Year?
I would say so.
Absolute insanity. And Adam Anderson, he's been doing this for over 20 years now. He's probably going to drive until he's 60. He's an absolute madman on the track. And this, like I said, this is just Indianapolis. And I'm planning on going to Atlanta later this year. I can't wait to see how big he can go on that track. But still a long ways to go until then. Awesome action in Indianapolis. But still one more tour left to go over, and that is their second trip to Anaheim this year. Stadium Championship Series West goes back to Anaheim, California for two more events on Saturday and Sunday. Starting off with JCB Racing on Saturday evening. Tyler Miniga in Gravedigger gets the win over Zach Garner in Wildside in the return of SoCal style racing. Love to see it. Fitting for Anaheim and just any baseball track for that matter. Skills challenge. The win goes to Ryan Anderson and Son of a Digger. Great skill move from him. And in the freestyle competition, Tyler Maniga gets the win with Gravedigger. Hey, how about Dalton Weiner and Shell Shocked getting second place? Tech Deck Recta getting third. But at the end of the day, by 1 point, your overall event champion is Tyler Miniga and Gravedigger, locking up another one for the season. Moving on to Sunday, your racing finals. Bari Musauer and Zombie starts off the day strong against Dalton Weiner and Shell Shocked, getting the first 12 points in that event. Skills challenge. Your winner is Tyler Miniga in the Gravedigger. But freestyle, when it all comes down to everybody scoring over or getting a 7 or more. So that's incredible to see. But your winner is Bari Musauer in the Zombie, wrapping up the day with two competition wins and the overall event championship. So how about this, Dorzia? Wild action with SoCal style racing back. Tyler Miniga gets an overall, and Bari Musauer gets an overall as well.
Yeah, only three drivers got wins. It was either Barry, Ryan, or Tyler, the top three in points. I don't know. They're kind of running away with it. But something to mention is that Sunday afternoon, there was only 11 trucks in competition. Black Pearl, unfortunately, did not compete at all. I guess what they said during the live stream was I guess it was either the transmission or they just blew the motor while bringing the truck from pit party to the garage. So that's awkward.
You definitely got to bring back that Black Pearl meme for
Yeah.
that occasion.
Yep.
Oh, this is my first time getting to see Black Pearl. No show. But yeah, you hate to see it, especially for a guy like Cole Venard, and definitely will have to fight back to get himself in that points race or just back in the race for a world final spot as the season continues to progress. And speaking on that note, let's take a look at your current point standings heading into February, and I'll let Dorsey take over for Stadium Championship Series East. Dorsey, who are your top five in Stadium Championship Series East points?
All right. So the top five currently, I'm going to go from fifth to first because that's how rankings usually go. So fifth place right now, Adam Anderson, Gravedigger with 112. Unfortunately, dropped a few spots, even though he had an okay weekend. Got a freestyle win. Colt Stevens had a fantastic weekend. Got 59 points from the weekend. Moves up to third, and when I say third, he is tied for third with Chris Kohler and Mayhem, also with 119. But man, we jump up a bit now. These two are running away with the tour. Tristan England after getting both overall event champions, uh, is even closer to first. He's at one. Excuse me. He's at 140, but in first place still Camden Murphy, Classroom Crusher with 145, only 5 points ahead. And man, Stadium East is looking interesting with the top two right now.
Yeah, it really is. I honestly did not expect to see a few bits in this point standings like Chris Kohler. I did not expect him to be in the top three or tied for the top three right now in points. He is having an incredible season right now and definitely making his case for why he should be back in the World Finals main field. He's been put in the last chance qualifier last 2 years, but now he's proven why he deserves to be with his papa, Jim Kohler, in the World Finals competing in the main field. And hey, kudos to Camden Murphy right now. He is on a roll right now. He is in command of the points, but not by much. Tristan is right behind him, looking for his second consecutive Stadium Series championship. But now we move on to Stadium Series West. And just like Dorsey, I'll go from 5 to 1. And in fifth place, right now, it is Bryce Kenny and Tech Deck Rec Deck with 156 points. How about this? Fourth place, the Knoxville man, Dalton Weiner and Shell Shocked. He's having a really good season right now with 180 points. Number three right now is Bari Musauer and Zombie with 191. But your closest right now in the points, second place is Tyler Miniga. Gravedigger has 225. And number one right now, the man to beat is Ryan Anderson, son of a digger, with 231 points. Dorsey, how about this points race heading into February? A lot of a lot of drivers you didn't expect to see up high, and especially a lot of drivers you didn't expect to see down low.
Yeah, unfortunately, I did expect the top two, Tyler and Ryan, are currently running away with the points because Bari's now a full show behind Ryan now with points, more than a full show now. Because unfortunately, he did get that minus 12 with that freestyle when he got. So yeah, even just to mention, these points might not even be correct until tomorrow because it seems like Tuesdays is when they show penalties. So who knows what's going to happen? This could go all over the place.
I forgot about that for a hot second. The
Yep.
penalties.
I
Um,
can't I can't wait
penalties.
to find out because I'm currently keeping track of everyone's points without the penalties. So I'm going to be very interested to see the difference between them, between the penalties and not the penalties.
Penalties. That's another discussion for another day. Actually, before we go on to the other series and let you go over another point standings, I don't know if we talked about this on the last episode, but Bari Musauer, his Sunday freestyle victory, I guess 1 or 2 weeks ago in San Diego, when he had that cartwheel save and landed on a rec deck, he had all 12 of his freestyle points taken away because of that incident.
Yep,
Don't you think that's nuts?
it is kind of insane. I don't know. It's just really weird. So he would instead be minus 28 points behind Ryan without that penalty. But I don't know. That's how they do it. I'm not a big fan of it, but man,
I mean, a decade ago, he had Thomas Max D running right into Lucas Oil Crusader. He had Son of a Digger landing on Max D at Minneapolis. I mean, just so many incredible trucks crashing into other trucks, and the only penalty would just be the cost to fix it. Now it's docking you in points. So yeah, well, Barry Musauer, he is still in the race, but of course he is a lot farther back than he's not as close as he wish he was. So it's definitely still some catch up for Barry Musauer, but he's still in a good place right now. Very competitive points race for Stadium Series West. Now we'll turn it over to Arena West and Dorsey. Who are your top five right now in Arena Series West?
so currently fifth place is Alex Barton and Earthshaker, 231. Matt Cody and Gravedigger sits in fourth with 284. Tim Hall Jr. and Jurassic Attack sits in third with 296. And then second is Armando Castro El Toro Loco with 333. And in first, Blake Granger, Monster Mutt Dalmatian, with 375. That is 42 points ahead of second. Oh man.
They might have forgotten to change the script for this year. Blake Granger is having another big lead, and I think this might actually, yeah, I think this might be the biggest points lead right now across all the other tours. Is Blake Granger with his plus 42 over the rest of the competition. But
And I'm
another,
gonna add something real quick, is that week one, Blake was deducted 11 points of that weekend. So he would have been 53 points ahead without it.
he is still taking command of that points lead, that is for sure. But another thing to mention, Tim Hall Jr. is having the season of his career right now. Third place right now in the point standings. He's also making his case. Don't you think he's also making his case to why he should be in the World Finals main field?
No, no, he definitely should be in the World Finals main field, 100%.
If we get
Especially just to add one thing, since Dalton Weiner's not even in Jurassic Attack again, so it'd be cool to see Shell Shock and now Tim Hall being the only representative of Jurassic Attack to be in it.
Yeah, if we got to see the blue Jurassic Attack in the World Finals, that would be absolute cinema. But still a long ways to go until a champion is crowned in that series. And I'll go ahead and go to and I'll save Arena Series East for Door Z. So your current standings right now in Monster Jam Freestyle Mania Arena Series East. Now they have it labeled as the Freestyle Mania Championship Series. Fifth place right now, it's Scott Murray and Michaela Telechka in Team Megalodon, 254
They're only
points.
4 points behind Bailey. So, oh my god, I didn't even realize that.
Yeah, that is insane. Fourth place right now, Brianna Mahan and Greg Duffy, Team Bailey Circuit with 258. And then your top three, Tony Oaks and TJ Tiffany, JCB Digatron, once in the lead. Now they're behind by 32 with 330 or 303 points total. With 333 points, and second is Fernando Martinez and AJ Roseborough and El Toro Loco. And Weston Anderson, Noah Bach, and Team Gravedigger have the lead by only 2 points, 335. So Doors Z, obviously, freestyle motocross has a big factor because past years, Gravedigger, Weston Anderson would have probably an 80 to 90 point lead right now. But with FMX, he's only got a 2 point lead right now.
So something that I've also done was keep track of the monster truck drivers' points without the FMX. And Weston's actually not having a good year compared to other years he's had. He would be still in the lead, but it's only by around, I can't think of it on the top of my head because I'm not on the page, but it's around like 14 points he's ahead of Fernando.
Man, the studying, the math that this man does, that Dorsey does, is absolutely incredible. So you can put that into perspective. That now it's not just about the FMX that's playing a different picture, but just this. I want to say just the technicality, the driving. It's just a different kind of mindset this year, I guess, where you have to really be on your A game, not just for your truck, but for your team. You got to have that teammate aspect. So, and that's playing a big factor as well with Michaela Telechka, Scott Murray, Megalodon. They're almost cracking into the top half of the points standings. So, a close battle right now. Very exciting, especially since it's Freestyle Mania. Can't wait to see how this series goes now that we're a month into the season. But now I'll give this to Door Z Arena Championship Series East. Who's in the top five of that point standings?
Well, currently no one's in the top five because we have a tie for fourth. I should have said that better. I just said no one's in the top five. I meant to say no one's in fifth, is what I should have said. No one's in fifth right now because we have a tie for fourth place between the Robbins brothers. Both of them at 146. And shout out to Cody. He's at 142, right with them as well in sixth. But currently third place. Man, what a season John Zimmer has been having. He's been so consistent. He is currently third with 153. MJ Solorio slightly lowers the gap a little bit, not by much. He did grab 71 points of the weekend in Providence, got the most out of anyone. Sits in second with 194, but 23 points ahead of him is John Zimmer Jr. looking to go back to back tour champions. Man, I talked to him about it. Him being the first ever independent tour champion. Imagine going back to back and being the first ever independent champion to go back to back. No one will ever take that away from him. He currently leads at 217, and this tour is looking interesting with that top two right now.
Yeah, you're right about John Zimmer Jr. He is rewriting the history books as we speak. And Arena Series East, that's just another one of those tours where there is a complete total shakeup in points where wherever these drivers are, you didn't expect them to be there before the season started. You highlighted the Robbins brothers. They're in the top five right now. Montana Robbins is having himself a credible year. Uh, oh, I forgot to mention this earlier. This is your first time getting to see the new Playing Crazy design. So,
Yes,
what was your thoughts seeing that new 3D custom plane?
that was an awesome experience to see it in person for the first time. I definitely enjoyed it a lot more seeing it in person than seeing pictures. I did enjoy it already. I already liked how the design looked, but man, it's great to see Montana drive that thing. He looked really good in Providence. The propeller broke off broke off a lot, but besides that, it looked really cool.
Yeah, Robbins brothers always have cool designs, cool paint schemes coming out. So, hey, Triton's got his train and Montana's got his plane. So, love to see it. They're both going crazy. Going back to the point standings, John Zimmer, he is having himself an incredible year as well. Could you imagine if we had a World Finals main field with John Zimmer and John Zimmer Jr.? Wouldn't that just be incredible?
Well, since Feld definitely wants a Megalodon representative, John Zimmer right now is currently the best Megalodon driver we have right now.
Right? Yes. I mean, come on. Who would not who would not love to see the uproar with the Megalodon body on it competing for a World Finals championship? That would be incredible to see, especially since that truck that John Zimmer's driving is only 2 years old, and also John Zimmer Jr.'s truck is chassis is very new and he's dominating on points. So Send Motorsports, they're rocking right now in Arena East. But before we go into the shows for next week, I want to highlight Cody Saucier because he is not having himself the season that he is hoping for. He does have, he's only 11 points behind third place, but right now he's sitting in sixth. And I'm just going to throw this out there, Dorsey. This might be a hot take, but if Cody Saucier does not improve, he continues to stay sixth. Is there a chance he might be put in last chance qualifier?
I unfortunately think right now, if it ended this second, this is how it ended up, I would say yes. But Feld has picked really questionable people to make it in already. Like it's insane to see Arena East point stand-ins and three company Feld drivers are in the bottom three positions. I don't think this has ever happened before.
Oh, that's right too, because you got Dragon, Gravedigger, and Sparkle Smash down there at the bottom. I can probably already see it now with the way that Feld likes to do their lineups. They're probably going to leave Cody Saucier in the last chance qualifier, but still have Kristen Anderson in the main field, even though she's in seventh place. I mean, I it sounds crazy to think, but isn't that what might happen if the points stay the way they are?
I don't know.
Uh, Honestly, yeah, you never know what's going to happen since it is Feld Entertainment. But that is a point series that we're going to have to watch all season long. It is tight right now. All the series are very exciting to see, and we'll be seeing here in a moment where they're going to be going to next. But now, let's focus our attention to where all the other tours are going to be going next. So this is the first full weekend of February for the monster truck industry. Let's take a quick glance over the events that are going to be taking place. I don't know if I am seeing this correctly, but here on the Google Sheets, only one Hot Wheels live tour is, or only one Hot Wheels live location is on here, and that's an international show, Budapest, Hungary, at the MVM Dome. And that one has your usual tour lineup with Bigfoot, driven by Rebecca Schnell, Bone Shaker, Cody Smith, Gungster with Allison Patrick, Mega Rex, Kristen Miguez, Rhinomite, Darren Schnell, Scalosaurus, Nick Miguez, and Tiger Shark with Rick Steffens. So that is the Hot Wheels International Tour. Monster Trucks Maniac in Bastrop, Louisiana. That is at the Morehouse Activity Center. You have the most legendary monster truck destruction truck ever, Crazy Heifer with Lexi Overman, Evil Leprechaun with Thomas Kimmons, Fire Hazard with Sean Roth, King Crunch, Dylan Finley, and Nitro Hornet with Richie Asco. Next up, it is the Monster Trucks X over in Australia at the Tralagon or Tralagon Racecourse. Try saying that 5 times fast. So you have Michael Zerub driving two trucks, Devil's Taxi and Tropical Thunder, and Sam Zerub driving another Devil's Taxi. I believe that is the colored one. Michael Zerub will be driving the white Devil's Taxi. And Jared Zerub driving two trucks, Samson and Son of the Devil. So interesting things going on down there in Australia. So SC Monster Truck Madness in Batesville, Mississippi. Still a few more trucks, I guess, to be determined. If there's only two trucks for this show, that's going to be kind of sad. But right now, it is Crime Time with Brittany Ames and Culture Shock Daniel Ames. I guess later trucks to be determined.
Usually they have
Monster
TBAs
X.
on them, and there's no TBAs on this.
Yeah, that's what I was questioning about. So there probably will be some more trucks to be added later soon. But Monster X Tour having one show on the East Coast, one show on the West Coast. Starting off with the West Coast, Stockton, California, at the Adventist Health Center, Anubis, or Anubis, I guess that's how you spell it. I say it. Jared Compton, Boss Skater, and Quad Chaos are to be announced. Lone Wolf with Stanley Hernandez. Oh, wait, hold on a second. Bro, what are you doing? You got Werewolf
Yeah,
with
yeah, you
Stanley
see it
Hernandez
too.
for West Monroe, and Lone Wolf for Stockton. Bro, get your stuff right. But yeah, USA won over in Brian Leach. That sounds believable for Stockton. Here is what's for West Monroe. Barefoot with Paul Craighead, Barely Tame, Rod Schmidt. So he's going from Redneck Rampage to Barely Tame, for all we know. Monster Patrol with Brandy Schmidt. USA 1 is to be determined. And there's Werewolf with Stanley Hernandez.
He's totally gonna
Monster
duplicate
Truck.
itself.
He's going to have his clone over, or his main self will be over on the East Coast. He'll just have his clone competing on the West Coast.
Yep.
Monster Truck Wars, two shows or two locations for them this weekend. Marion, Ohio, at the Veterans Memorial Coliseum. The lineup, driver-wise, is to be determined. But right now, the trucks are Outlaw, Shark Attack, Sheriff, and T-Rex. Surprised there's no locomotion in the or yeah locomotive in those events. Or the TBA lineup also applies for their other location, Battle Creek, Mississippi, I believe that, or actually,
No,
no,
Michigan.
Michigan. Yeah, I need to go back and learn my abbreviations
The
for
only
states
reason why
again.
I know Mississippi is MS because it has a lot of S's in it.
Mississippi. I remember
Yep.
that for future reference. But yeah, Battle Creek, Michigan, Kellogg Arena. The drivers are still to be determined for that lineup as well. Canada Jam Motorsports Spectacular at Winnipeg, Manitoba, at the Canada Life Center. And you guessed it, straight up racing. That is right. With the addition of Crude Behavior, Jared Vogel, and Roughneck, Jason Core. But the rest of the lineup, you know it, it's straight up racing. Elbows up with Joe Briggs, Identity Theft, Grave Digger, Marvin Anderson behind the wheel, mixed up with Gavin Sell, Rockstar, Bill Payne, and Spitfire with Dallas Rogers. The All Star Monster Trucks finally move out of Florida. They are now in Marietta, Georgia, and the same lineup as well with High Tide, Elliot Miller, Kraken, Nick Pagliarillo, Loomis Madness, Athena Kozel, Misfire, Brooke Pagliarillo, and Rat Attack with Jacob Ladwig. Moving on to 2X Monster Trucks In Viva Las Vegas, Nevada, at the Las Vegas Motor Speedway, Bounty Hunter, driven by Jim Cretin, Brutal with Austin Minton, Jekyll and Hyde with Corey Kinel, Ron Rex, Mike Nugent, Scarlet Bandit, Don Cretin, and Sharkbite, Dan, the Man, Dahlgren. A six
No.
for 2X Monster Trucks in Las Vegas always become one of their biggest events of the year. So can't wait to see all the action they can pull off with that six truck lineup in Viva Las Vegas. But now that leaves us to Monster Jam, and it looks like only four tours are going to be in action this weekend. I don't believe any Freestyle Mania. So just Arena East and West and Stadium East and West. And this is when we do our predictions for who are going to be the top three drivers this weekend for all of the tours. And we're going to start off with Arena Series East in Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania, the PPG Paints Arena. I'm going to start it with Door Z. Who are your picks for the top three drivers this weekend in Pittsburgh?
Man, Arena East is definitely hard to choose, besides a couple, because it seems like anyone could get a lot of points for a show. I'm gonna have to go with John Zimmer Jr., of course, in Terminal Velocity. I'm also gonna go with MJ Solorio and El Toro Loco. And for my last pick, you know what? She unfortunately didn't compete in the last two shows, so I think she's gonna go insane. Kristen Anderson and Gravedigger, who's been very improving in two-wheel skills. Like even on the Friday show, she's doing combos and everything. She's been really good.
Yeah, she really has stepped up her game this year, so she's definitely going to be looking for some redemption this weekend in the Steel City. So for me, I'm going to go with, in no particular order, I'm going to go with MJ Solorio, El Toro Loco, having a season right now, second in points. And you know what? Give me the Zimmers. John Zimmer in Megalodon, John Zimmer Jr. in Terminal Velocity. Those guys have been tearing it up, and I think they're going to do the same thing this weekend. So that's Arena East. Now we move on to Denver, Colorado at the Ball Arena. It is going to be Arena Series West. I'll kick it off with this one. My top three drivers for this weekend. I got to go with Armando Castro in El Toro Loco. He's been having himself a great season so far for his return to arenas. Still doing very well points wise. Second driver, I got to go with Tim Hall Jr. in Jurassic Attack, who's on a tear right now in that blue dinosaur. And the third driver, no questions needed. Blake Granger and Monster Mutt Dalmatian. I can expect he's going to take probably 2 or 3 overall event championships if I had to guess. What about you, Dorsey? Who are you picking for your top three in Denver?
Man, for Denver, Colorado, I'm gonna have to go with 2 out of 3 that you picked. Blake Ranger, of course, being the obvious, and Armando Castro, El Toro Loco. But man, I don't know. I'm gonna have to go with Matt Cody and Gravedigger. Still hasn't gotten that overall event championship yet, and I don't know. I have a feeling it's gonna happen in Denver.
Yeah, it's going to be very interesting to see what these drivers can do as they are now entering the second month of competition. This is when if you're going to give yourself a chance to take the points championship, it's got to be right now. You gotta step up your A game, or else you're going to catch yourself falling behind. So points right now are crucial, especially on the Arena Series with all these events that they are doing. So that is the Arena Series. Now, let's switch it over to the Stadium Series. Stadium Championship Series East, a legendary city for Monster Jam. Minneapolis, Minnesota, at the U.S. Bank Stadium. They're going up north to the home of the Minnesota Vikings. And a lot of these drivers looking to make their presence known. Dorsey, who are those three drivers going to be making their presence known in Minneapolis?
My first pick has to go with Tristan England and JCB Digatron coming off of 2 overall event championships this past weekend. I think he's gonna keep going strong, trying to get that first place all over Camden Murphy. My second pick, I'm gonna have to go with um, I'm gonna go with Mike Pagliarolo and Excalibur. I don't think he's gotten the start that he wanted, but it seems like he is moving up the rankings quite a bit now, and I think he's gonna have a very strong show in Minneapolis. And then for my final pick, I'm gonna have to go with Adam Anderson Gravedigger after that last freestyle competition. He's definitely hungry for
Yeah.
some more wins. He's only gotten that one freestyle win so far this season, so expect more from Adam.
Yeah, I'll just go ahead and go straight into mine. First one, I'm going to go with Adam Anderson. I mean, you saw the big hair he got last week in Indianapolis, and last year in Minneapolis, he got some huge air with no Gravedigger body on. So I can only imagine this year he's going to try to go bigger. So Gravedigger for the first driver for me. Second one, it's got to be the points leader, Camden Murphy and Classroom Crusher. Just a completely different driver this year. His second year behind the wheel of the giant flying school bus. And my third driver, I got to go with Chris Kohler in Mayhem. He has stepped up his game big time this year. So I think he's going to continue to keep the ball rolling in third place, hoping to improve his point standing. So I'm going to go with Mayhem for my third driver. So that leaves us with one more tour to go. And this begins their first of 2 weeks in the Lone Star State. Houston, Texas is where Stadium Series West will set up shop for the first 2 weekends in February. February 7th. I believe that's only one show in NRG Stadium.
Yes, it is.
And yeah, just one show this weekend in Houston, and I believe two shows the next until they go back to Anaheim for the third time this year. But
Yep.
right now, it's all about Texas. Everything is bigger in Texas. And who is going to go big in Texas, you may ask? My first driver, Corey Rummel, in Ringling Bailey Circuit. Just a completely different guy behind the wheel of not just Bailey Circuit, but behind the wheel of a Feld Monster Jam truck. So, Corey Rummel, I believe he's going to let it fly in Houston. So is Tyler Miniga in the Gravedigger. Self-explanatory, loves to go big, especially on big floors such as Houston. And third driver, he loves Houston. He loves to go big for the Houston fans. Ryan Anderson and Son of a Digger. Now's the time he has to hold on to that points lead because Tyler Maniga is right behind him, not that far apart. So I'm going to go with Ringling Bailey Circuit, Gravedigger, and Son of a Digger. How about you, Dorsey?
Well, I'm going to start off with one of yours because I only have one of the same as yours, which is Ryan Anderson. Son of a Digger will be my first pick in the competition for Houston. And my last two picks are going to be independent trucks. I'm going to go with Zach Garner and Wildside and Shell Shocked Dalton Widener are my three picks.
Yeah, this is going to be. I want to say that. I don't know. I'm trying to guess like which one of these stadium tours are most excited to see, but because they all have their different things they like to provide. Like last year, when you go back to all the different or stadium points tours, uh, Stadium West, I believe, was far and beyond the best one, especially because all the drivers were getting big air and crazy freestyles, mostly because of the track we're using. But this year, not a whole lot. All the drivers, no matter what tour they're on, they're all going big. Dorsey, would you say there is a points tour between these two stadiums that you think is just far superior than the other based on what's going on the track, or is it even?
I agree. Last year was definitely Stadium West was definitely the better tour. This year, I don't know. It's kind of a mix. If we're just saying freestyle, I think Stadium East slightly has that edge with freestyles, but Stadium West definitely has the better two-wheel skills of the group. Racing is completely even. It's kind of hard to tell with that, but man, I think freestyle is definitely East. Two-wheel skills is definitely the West tour, and racing's up in the air. So I think it's kind of even right now.
And speaking of racing on Stadium Series West, Monster Jam, if you can hear me, please keep the SoCal style racing for the rest of the season. That is an iconic racing style, and this track is perfect for it. I know they're probably going to stick to St. Louis style, but after seeing Anaheim racing this past weekend, just classic, brings back memories. I would love nothing more than to see SoCal style racing coming back full time. But that's just my opinion. All the action this year so far on all these tours has been incredible to see. We are just about to wrap things up, but before we do, I do want to mention something, and because I forgot to mention it earlier, but maybe we can spend the last few moments here just have a little fun and experiment. So, something else happened over the course of this weekend. It did not involve anything going on the track. Monster Jam was a part of Groundhog Day.
Oh
Out of
no,
all the things you can expect, oh yeah, we are bringing it up to close out
no.
the episode. Monster Jam was involved with Groundhog Day. They had their special display monster truck, Cadillac Escalade with Groundhog Day all over it.
Yeah,
Joe Dennis was there. There were the top hats and the groundhog stuff, but also they had their exclusive Groundhog Day diecast. But before we get into the experimental part, Dorsey, what were your thoughts and reactions to just Monster Jam being a part of Groundhog Day out of all holidays?
yeah. My reaction is why, and that's it. Thank you. I'm out. No, to be honest, I have no reaction. I just don't. I don't know. You do you, I guess.
Yeah, that is true. Yeah, who would have thought that in the Big 26 that Monster Jam would be involved with Groundhog Day? They've been involved with several things in the past with the Diesel Brothers and the Breaking World Records, the World's Strongest Man competition,
That's another
all the
thing
different
that we
movies,
gotta
yeah,
mention.
all the different movies with Rampage and the Meg, and now Groundhog Day. Like, bro, what are we doing? So that leads me into a little bit of experiment, if you will. Let's experiment. What can be the next diecast exclusive holiday truck for a holiday that they have not done yet before? Because they have done a plethora of Christmas trucks, Halloween trucks, Thanksgiving, now Groundhog Day. Um, Valentine's Day, they're apparently getting a exclusive diecast now. So Dorsey, let's do this. Let's pick out what's the next holiday that we think should get a diecast and what that truck should look like. So I'll start with one first. When are we going to get a St. Patrick's Day diecast?
I was just
I
gonna say
mean,
that.
that would just be perfect. I mean, imagine it. You got the leprechaun face on the front of the truck.
But there's
You
already a
got
truck called Leprechaun.
big green hat. Yeah, forget about it. They can work all the trademarks and stuff like that. This can be like um Lucky Charm Gold Rush. That could be maybe the name of it. I don't know. It's got the green hat on the top. It's got the suit. It's got a pot of gold in the back for whatever reason. So why not? We got a full blown groundhog for a monster truck diecast. Why not do a leprechaun for St. Patrick's Day? Dorsey, you got any thoughts for a future holiday diecast?
My first thought was St. Patrick's Day. As someone who's Irish, that's what I was thinking, literally. But have they done an Easter one?
I I
I
do
don't.
not know.
I don't remember.
There have been diecast trucks in the past, but they just have like different colored rims, like
Yeah,
Gravedigger with light purple. But yeah, what would your concept be for an
I
Easter
remember.
truck?
I remember the Hot Wheels Easter packs, like back in the day. But I don't know. Just a bunny? Like I don't know. Just imagine it's just a giant egg as a diecast. It's just an egg.
I mean, we have Hot Wheels monster trucks in the shape of flip flops and shoes and are just motorcycles. Why not do an egg themed monster truck? I mean, why not do a 4th of July or a New Year's Day monster truck when it's just a firework? Just a
And it's an
firework
actual
before you.
firework and explodes. So every time you hit it with a ramp, it explodes.
That would be a seller, no question. But yeah, uh, just a funny way to end off the show. Anything else you want to mention before we wrap this thing up
I
related
guess
to
I guess
real
one
life trucks or
thing to mention, you mentioned the Diesel brothers. There was a return of a certain monster truck. Brodozer has made its return that they showed on their Instagram account. Have you seen this?
yeah, I have. Yeah. What's that all about?
I have no idea. Just I saw the video and
It's a much
the chassis is definitely interesting, I'll tell you that.
yeah, it's a lot smaller, I think, than the previous actual competition Rodos or Monster Truck. It kind of like it's the same size, I want to say, as like the Rockstar Monster Truck from the early days and the 2010s and whatnot. So yeah, that's something that we'll have to keep an eye on. But anyways, that I believe will wrap it up. We did it. No Lane Flores here. We'll have him in the show later on. But yeah, that wraps it up. Anything else you want to say before we sign off?
I don't think so. I think we perfectly did this episode.
Other than Montana Robbins is the greatest driver of all time, and you got to do the airplanes with them
Yes,
again.
sir.
Gotta love it. Well, thank you all for joining us once again for some more Monster Truck action and a few more shenanigans as well. For Dorzy, I am Nafagen. We'll see you next week. That was STSL Off the Track.